Little Chad and Slender Dad, they the truest of kin. Streaming on Friday nights, where the realness begin. They dive deep in pop culture, from cinema to play. On YouTube they ride waves, never following the cliche. Brahma bull, he's swirling wisdom in his cup. Mad Chismo spitting facts like a fire spark. Lil Chad, he the monarch of movie lore. Slender Dad's blade cuts through, getting chat to roar. It's action mixed with laughter that's gonna cling. Pop culture poppin' with a vibe that's king. They paint a picture vivid with each episode, a symphony of culture in the streaming abode. Ascendant art, it's time we commence. With laughter and knowledge we end ignorance. Pop some popcorn, settle in and witness the show. The finest stream you'll see on your screen, you should know. There's a guy called Imp.
There is a guy called him, and I don't know why we have someone making fun of him in our intro song who doesn't show up all the time, but Imp does. But it's all right. I digress. I digress. It's totally cool, totally fine. Anyway, how's everybody doing? Welcome to another great week here at the Ascendant Art Podcast.
Dude, we have had an ascendant week.
I think so, because on further review, I'm thinking we may have seen what might be like the best war movie. Maybe not the best movie, but the best like war movie.
Yeah. Do we want to start with that one?
Yeah, I think so, because I don't know that anyone else had seen it besides us, and I'm sure, and we can involve Imp with some general conversation about it and see how he feels. So I think that's the easiest intro place, because so we're talking about Warfare, which just came out, and it
10
was
out of 10.
It was great. Now, understand what you're getting with this movie is a visceral, genuine, as close as they could get it, realistic war experience as you're gonna get. This isn't.
I'd almost say it's not a movie, right? Like it's an incredibly high dollar reenactment. You know?
Yeah, so the movie has two directors and two writers where they co-wrote and co-directed. The main writer and director is Ray Mendoza, who was actually one of the SEALs in this mission that's being documented. This was around the mid 2000s. It's documenting a mission in Iraq run by this SEAL unit. And after he got out of being an active duty soldier, Ray Mendoza went on to becoming an advisor on action, like war movies. And he learned, I guess he's paid attention. He did a lot of interviews, and I read and watched a few of them today, where he talked about every time he was on set, as he was coaching people in the like war aspects and how to look like an operator, he was also going to like the cinematographer and director and trying to soak up how to actually do that, how to be a movie creator. And then
he soaked it up.
Yeah, and so he his goal with this movie actually, and Slender having seen it, he was the guy who was I guess you would call it as close to the main character as you could get, the radio operator. That was that we followed through most of the movie.
Well, there isn't really a main character, because they kind of switch between, like, at any given time, you're in one of the operator's perspectives. And you kind of know which perspective you're in because he's the one that you're like, you're not in first person, but you're like right there on that guy's shoulder, like
Yep.
following him around, seeing everything he's seeing, having the conversations he's having. It's just so good. It's oh my gosh. Like,
So I'm not going to tell you this. So when he was in his interviews, they asked him about why he wanted to make this movie. And he said his main goal was for the other guy in the unit, the one who had the incident. And there was two, the one who had more of the incident.
I mean,
I guess
they
he
both
didn't.
had serious incidents going.
Yeah, the one with the mustache that's featured in the picture on the screen right there.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so-
liked that guy too. He was like my favorite character.
Yeah, so what happened is I guess that's one of his best buds. And after all of that stuff happened, he said that he didn't have much memory of the whole thing, like especially after everything.
Mhm.
So he wanted to try to make as authentically as possible a document which would be able to, for this other soldier, show him what happened.
Kind of fill in the gaps.
To kind of fill in the gaps. And that's where he said it, in making the movie and researching it and writing it, he went to the other guys in the unit and he was talking to them to get, from their perspective, minute by minute, what they were doing, what they were seeing happen. And he said that filled in a lot of things that he didn't even know about, because, as you see very much in this movie, every person's doing their job, and they're focused on their task.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not always paying attention to what everybody else is doing in any given minute.
No, that's generally the job of the officer.
Yeah. And we had two officers highlighted in this one, the two officers in charge. One played by Wil Poulter, who was our so there's the SEAL units split off, two platoons split off into different locations. We follow platoon 1. Their call designation was OP1, which I thought was funny.
we get a little bit of platoon 2, but it's much more heavily focused on platoon 2.
I will tell you though, when platoon 2 shows up and we get our other officer in charge, that dude was awesome too.
Yeah, that dude was on it.
Because this is something that I think is when they were going for the military realism, and we were talking about it after we watched it yesterday. Sometimes when stuff goes wrong, people start getting a little out of it. When you've got a unit like that and people start noticing someone's getting a little off page, somebody else steps up and gets them back on track. And they showed that a lot.
The one guy, you saw him just kind of start going into that 1,000-yard stare, wasn't paying attention to anything. And then the guy saw he wasn't, and he's like, hey, fucking lock down that staircase. Like, gave him something to focus on. Like, hey, this is what you need to be focused on. You're starting to drift. Get back in the game,
Yep. And that's what I was going to point out. Like, what you'll notice, and this is something, and it's interesting to talk about because we do in the medical business where I was for a long time, when they go over emergency training, one of the things that they bring over from military is that you have to task someone with something specific.
Yep.
Because in an emergency situation, people will start like going nuts. So you have to look at them, and they do this and this is a very military thing to do. You go, so-and-so do this, so-and-so do that, so-and-so do that. You assign specific tasks to get them focused on something. And that was great. I also loved in this movie, the beginning of it, you're with this unit, and this movie sets it up so well, which is there's a lot of sitting around doing nothing until you have to do everything. It's
part of why it's, like I said, it's more of an experience. Because another thing, there's no music in this movie. Like, this movie doesn't have a soundtrack.
There's one piece of music
they're watching at the beginning that has
which,
music.
which is also very authentic. You know, like,
And then
this
when they
is
start running the end credits, there's music. But
yeah,
during the movie itself, there is no music. And there are times when you will be sitting in the theater and you will be like, this is so fucking boring. Because you are feeling exactly what the people sitting around are feeling. And then you'll start to get nervous. And then you'll think something might be about to pop off. And then something pops off. And then the shit hits the fan.
exactly. And
And it doesn't slow down.
I will tell you, there was a moment in the theater where it actually made me jump.
I
Slender
watched you
noticed
do it.
this, and I've I've read a lot of comments too that I am not the only one who's had that issue, because this movie gets you so focused, right? Like, you're
I knew
so
exactly
into the
what was going
moment.
to happen there. I was like, this is a bad situation. This is the worst place. You don't want to be here right now.
Yeah, so because this movie really sucks you in and gets you into the perspective of being a guy in that unit, where you're living every minute to minute what's happening. So this isn't so
Another
like,
interesting thing. I didn't know this, but I read this earlier today. Like, that was real time. Like,
yes,
they
they did.
tried to keep this thing as close to running in real time as possible, which is
Yeah,
why in
from
the
when
land of 2+ hour movies, it was only an hour and what, 20 minutes?
it was like 94 minutes.
Yeah.
And the reason
And
from when
everything was happening in real time.
so from when shit goes off, like when they start shooting,
Mhm.
it just, they're clocking it in real time to when they're getting to when they get the eventual evac.
Yeah. And the shit pops off, what would you say, like 30, 40 minutes in, and then the rest of the movie is just like everything is happening in real time.
No worries about being late, Eric. Everybody's here. By the way, I'll just take a moment to say hello to the people who are in chat. Davina, Eric, who we just talked about. We got Josh Hammond. We got our favorite Kiwi, Smokey. We got
Yay!
Bad Take Bojan. We got Bride of Slender, who was trying to get things started early, even though we hadn't started yet.
She was trying to watch the show, and I'm like, the show doesn't start for another 5 minutes.
And we got FKHC. So we got the whole crew in here, which is great. All our regulars. How'd you get a wrench? I don't know what that means, because I made you a mod, Eric. you're in here every week. You do the work. You're a mod. Don't abuse the privilege, but I know you won't, so you're fine.
Same goes for you, Josh Hammond.
Yeah, Josh Hammond. We had a discussion after the show last week, and
We did?
Yeah, because we
You
were
remember
talking
when I was like, Chad, I don't know if you've
Yeah.
noticed in the chat, but Josh Hammond requested a wrench. And I
No.
was like, so we'll put it to committee. Did we give him a wrench?
No, I think I was just ignoring you, as I do half the time, Slender.
That's true. Anyway, so back to the movie, man. Don't remove him. He's
I
the
have
only
the
one.
power back now.
He's the only one who shows up on time every show.
Half the time
Anyway.
I'm early.
So, well, I'm gonna be honest, Josh. Our chat probably isn't the hardest to mod at this point, so I don't think you're gonna have to put in the work for just yet. If we were getting into like some of that Friday Night Tights territory with the like
We get some
15,000
growth at some
current
point.
video, viewers, maybe we'd have to have
We
a
know
talk.
everyone who's going to be in our chat, and I think they're all happy to be here and don't really want to troll or fight.
I'm happy to have everyone in the chat. It's all great.
Although I think Soul Assassin makes fun of me a lot, but I didn't see him, so maybe I'm gonna have a good night.
All right. Well, now it's interesting that I watched Grace Randolph's review of this movie too, because I wanted to see, like, because I don't want to just watch the reviewers that I know and like. I want to see how this is being seen by other people.
Okay.
And this movie is universally being just praised. For everybody seems to appreciate what they were doing with it. She said something that I actually thought was fairly accurate. This movie is basically like the beginning of Saving Private Ryan with the Omaha Beach scene, where you're because if you remember, and I think most of the people here do remember Saving Private Ryan, you don't get a much lead up, right? You're just thrown right in. They're moving forward, given the task, accomplishing, storming the beach.
Right.
in this context, you're not getting briefed about what the mission is. You are given a feed of the audio between like the other units where you kind of put together what's going on. You have the most basic idea that they are going out to support another unit doing something.
Mhm.
They are a SEAL sniper platoon, and and that's all you get, because you are given what is almost what they get, like, which is you're just there to do the task. You're not really, there's no overarching like movie storyline you have to do.
Mm-mm.
This is, you're going on a mission. You're going on a daily job
Well,
that
which
they
is
would get
another
assigned.
thing that kind of makes it a lot more real, is that like if you're down there on the ground, like they tell you you're going to go here, you need to be ready to do this. They don't tell you, "Oh, here's the big mission that all the generals discussed and then we got approved over in at the Pentagon, you know." Like no, you don't know any of that crap. You know where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be ready to do. Like that's it.
Yeah,
Um
and this is, and I think we've looked at the disparity between Rotten Tomatoes critic score and audience score.
Oh, dude, pull up
There's,
the critic score. The first one is negative. It drives me up the wall.
yeah, but look at this version. We have a 95% critic and a 93% audience. This is
I,
the least divergent score we've seen on Rotten
you
Tomatoes
you know how
in a long time.
hypercritical I am of movies, and I say this is a 10 out of 10. Like
Yep.
like this goes up there with like I don't know that I'll watch it again. I probably will because it just it definitely you know reached me, but you know I'm veteran so. But like this, I put this up there with things like Passion of the Christ and Schindler's List, where like it's hard to watch, but everyone should see it at least once.
Yeah, and with this one, it is. I think there may be some rewatchability to it when like where it's the kind of movie you would want to watch every few years. I mean, this is something. This may be the most definitive on film version of the global war on terror that we've seen. Like, because it really, if you think about the global war on terror, for the average volunteer soldier,
Mhm.
once, I mean, especially once you get to a few years into Iraq, this wasn't necessarily fighting the good fight to try to get bin Laden anymore. This was where you're doing your job that you're getting told you need to do.
Mhm.
And there's not a lot of like this movie doesn't like go rah patriotism. It's a lot like Black Hawk Down in that way, because Black Hawk Down kind of summed up the way the military was used in the 90s, which were it got sent to do peacekeeping operations that had nothing really to do with the United States.
Well, this is part of the reason. Another part of the reason I love this movie so much. It's why the one negative critic response that I saw. Yes, it is very gory and visceral. There are parts where
Yes,
I looked away because
it
I was like,
was
oh, that
super authentic in how they
yeah,
displayed all of that.
pretty
This
bad.
to the point, Eric, where we were sending messages because our boy Mad was very excited to see this movie, and afterwards, me and Slender were both very concerned that this is the kind of thing that could definitively trigger someone who has any
On
PTSD from those things.
like on the small screen, I think he could probably handle it, but in a theater on the big screen with the surround sound, and they do a lot of binaural sound with the movie too. Like certain things will come out of the speakers on the right side of the room, others will come out on the left, others on the back. Like they definitely worked with that directional audio. Um, it there were a couple of times when it felt really real, like
They do a great job with the sound mixing to simulate, when you get your
the
bell rung
sound
kind of thing.
mixing, the radio chatter that was going on to the point that the guy, you know, pulled his own radio jack because there was just too much being said.
Yeah,
Like
because
they did a really good job making it feel real.
it was, I just can't speak highly enough of this movie. I think if you have friends who are vets of like Iraq, And I know that we've done a good job of trying to get people to kind of be more open about what they went through. This is the kind of movie where if you want to get an understanding for why people have so much baggage from what from what was going on over there, this is something where you're going to understand that they had to go in. There was no, I mean, in a lot of ways, it reminds me of the soldiers' experience in Vietnam, where you're going in, you're executing a plan from some higher up place that doesn't really seem to have any logic to it, and then you leave. You don't hold territory. You're not pushing forward with a mission to take territory. You're kind of just what is it like in We Were Soldiers? They came in, you fight for the hill, you evac.
Well,
You,
it's in the Navy we called it 5 knots in a box. If you don't have any immediate mission while you're deployed, they're like, "All right, this is your box." The ship will go to that box and then do circles at 5 knots until we call you up for your next assignment. So, that's basically what they did. It's like, go find a place, hunker down there, await further orders. That's basically what they were doing.
exactly, and it was so good. I just can't say it. Speak
Like I
about it
said,
enough.
you will feel like they did such a great job that you feel what the people in this movie felt, like what the characters felt. You were bored when they were bored. You were laughing and thinking it was silly when they were laughing and thinking it was silly. You know,
I mean, and I think this is one of the times where the critics seem to actually get it,
I don't
which
see
is
the rotten review. There was a rotten review at the top when I pulled this up. Go to
not
all
anymore.
critics.
I'm all right. Go to all critics. It's all fresh. I have to go down.
Maybe somebody pulled their review then.
I'm loading more. I'm not. It's a long while before you. Oh, here you
Oh,
go.
there it is.
Doesn't a film like Warfare, impressively brutal and bloody as it is, functionally reduce combat to a Call of Duty cutscene if it refuses to engage with the why and how of it all? She's fundamentally.
Those are the ones that I keep seeing. Well, they didn't tell me how to feel about it. Fuck off.
Well, this is what I think. This is where Miss Hannah Strong over here is completely misunderstanding. Like, if you're a volunteer soldier,
Yeah.
you don't get a choice in the why of it.
Nobody tells me why, and they
Yeah.
expect me to figure out how.
Yeah. So, what are your like? Why this is a movie made by one of the fucking guys who was there to be as authentic as possible to the experience of the soldier on the ground.
Dude, these are people who really wanted Hollywood to shit on the military.
Yes,
Like,
that's what.
Soldiers and sailors are the worst people in all. They're the dregs of our society, and the military industrial complex is the most evil thing America has going for it.
So, like, and shockingly, this
We're
is
all
another.
agents of evil.
This is again where I'm gonna reference Grace Randolph's review, where she like, this movie doesn't get into the what's good and what's bad, and she specifically pointed out the fact
it doesn't even touch politics in the least, because guess what? When you're there on the ground, nobody in the military gives a shit about politics. You start to give a shit about politics when you're trying to pay your bills. When you're in the military, like, the military's paying all your bills. You go eat at the galley, you live in the barracks, your insurance is 100%. I mean, sure, it's military doctors and but like, you don't have bills to pay, so you don't think about the state of the country or the economy or anything else. You're off doing what you got to do. You're serving your country. Your country is taking care of itself, and you are just trying to take care of yourself and your guys. You don't give a shit about it.
Yeah, and the point that she
Military
brought up.
bubble. Bride of Slender is right.
Yeah.
We all talk about it. We're in the military bubble.
So the thing that she brought up was the fact that they are in a house that is occupied, And she said, this is the closest it gets to maybe, to like something. But even then, she goes, it makes complete sense. Like, because if you're like, why didn't they let the family go and do that? Because you're just, because why are you holding? But she goes, as soon as you think about that through, you'll realize if you let them go, they'll tell you where the platoon is. They'll give details about the
They'll
platoon.
immediately give up your location, whether they want to or not.
Yeah. So she's like, so even though she goes, this is why it's just authentic. You might have a visceral reaction of like, why are they doing that to civilians? And then you're like, oh, right. Because these civilians would immediately give up these soldiers and they'd get killed. So they have to keep them there.
They didn't kill them.
No, they didn't.
They didn't tie them up. They didn't do anything. They just were like, they have to stay downstairs. And then when it started popping off, they were like, you all got to stay in this room.
Correct. And that's not a commentary right or wrong about doing it, because as soon as you realize if you're one of the SEALs, there's a million reasons why you hold them in the zone. You don't have the luxury of being like, oh, well, does this seem like it's a questionable thing because they're just a civilian? It doesn't matter. You're in a war zone now. I think it was Ramadi that they were doing this mission. Yes. Yeah. So that's the kind of thing it gets you to like. This is why Hannah is so wrong about it. This is not a Call of Duty cutscene where you're not engaging. She doesn't have a brain to understand the point, which is you get to see the perspective of an average war fight. Well, Navy SEALs aren't average. But a war fighter on the ground executing a mission and seeing how that goes, right or wrong. It doesn't come into it. They were given the assignment and task to complete, and this is how it happened. And so I think she's being ridiculous. But on the other hand, a lot of these other critics seem to get right into it. Like plunges viewers into the visceral chaos of combat, offering perhaps the closest thing to a real war experience without ever stepping foot in the conflict zone.
Yeah.
And that's what it's going for. And now some people are reading further into it as a depiction of the futility of conflict from those who fought warfare is far from ambivalent. So he's saying, Richard Whitaker here is and this is a lot of people are going to get different takeaways from this, but I think it's
almost guarantee you that if you were to ask the directors of this film, they would be like, no, this is not a depiction of the futility of conflict. This is a depiction of what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if you want to, interpret, I think it's fairly reasonable to extrapolate that from the way this operation went and the end of it. Was it worth doing? It leads to questions that are valid, which is, was what we did in Iraq even worth doing? And the answer is probably not. Now does that mean the warfighters were wrong or ambivalent about executing the operation? No, not at all. But that's where you can kind of get into some of those questions, and that's fine for outside the theater. Mm-hmm. And I don't have any problem with having that conversation outside the theater. I don't think this movie is about that. I think this movie is just showing you what they went through, so you understand these people weren't monsters pushing some kind of agenda. Hey, 70s, welcome to the show.
Good evening. Just finished watching episode 2 of Mobland. That's why I'm late.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Did you
talking about warfare?
Man, I'm sure you probably. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it, but everybody should. It's so good.
I don't know. I think Chad agrees with me, but I would definitely label warfare as ascendant art.
It is. I think it's in my. If it's not the number one, it's in the top 3 war movies ever made for me.
I put it right up there with my other favorite, which is 13 Hours.
I have not seen this yet, but it looks good.
It just came out yesterday.
Yeah. So this is the new one by. It's Alex Garland.
Alex Garland. Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see what the blurb from Grace Randolph was. One of the best war films ever, and an all-access look at modern warfare, brought both thrilling and shocking. Real-life soldier Ray Mendoza turned co-director and co-writer makes a huge difference, and the cast is full of very talented up-and-comers. I will say that too. The
It is a
cast was
must-see.
awesome.
In my opinion, it is a must-see.
Like Warfare, the casting was perfect.
I see it's
Like-
got the guy from Shogun in it.
Yeah, he's-
Blackthorn,
Yeah, so Slender, I don't know. Did you watch Shogun?
Nah, I haven't watched it yet.
Okay, so the guy with the mustache here was the
Yeah.
lead in Shogun, the
Oh, he's
American,
got a tash in this, right?
yeah, the Englishman. So
So maybe
you might,
I will have to watch Shogun because he was my favorite character.
yeah. So he's and I guess he's a musician that's turned actor.
Because
Which
in
is
this movie, he
interesting.
was the sniper, right? He was the guy
Yes.
who was laying.
He
on
was the sniper.
on the rack there.
Weak. So
is it a probe? No, it's a peak with serious intent to probe.
to probe. So this is the Wil Poulter. So 70s, we got Wil Poulter in here also is playing like the officer in charge. We got Joseph Quinn from Stranger Things and soon to be Fantastic Four playing one of the other SEALs. I mean, this like the top to bottom, and the actors did great jobs. Like, so this Ray Mendoza was one of the SEALs on this mission.
Oh, right.
And he co-wrote and co-directed with Alex Garland, who did 28 Days Later, Civil War, Ex Machina. Like, he's a great director. So this is top shelf. Like, this is super authentic. It's probably the first war movie I've ever seen where they authentically point out that these guys are actually worried about making sure they get their backpacks and kit. They can't leave stuff behind.
Well,
Like-
and they do blood checks, and a blood check is where if some shit hits the fan, with the adrenaline and everything that's happening, you may not realize you're injured. So they'll basically pat each other down, like pull the backpack away, look behind the backpack, check everything, and make sure that nobody's bleeding. Because in those crisis situations, you could maybe have like a carotid artery severed, and you've just got so much adrenaline going that you don't even realize you've been hurt, and then 30 seconds later you're dead.
Yeah, so it's awesome. There's no music, like, so there's a beginning music video that they show where the guys are watching it, and then after that it's just all ambient sound and radio chatter and action and inaction, because there's a lot of inaction before there's action.
Like I said, it's not even really a movie. It's an experience. It really is. They're gonna put you there, and you're gonna be with this team. You're gonna experience what they experienced. You're gonna see it how they saw it.
So Bride of Slender, it's illegal for them to use authentic uniforms in movies unless they have the full sign off on the DoD. So a lot of times, because in her comment, there are plenty of things it's not supposed to say that the U.S. military does, hence the insignias being off in every movie ever driving me up the
Depends on if the military is allowing it. They usually don't, especially for cheesy, stupid Hollywood movies. But like I saw the one dude's captain insignia. I didn't see the other dudes, but they had the insignias. They were wearing their rank.
So it sounds like it's pretty good. I mean, is it?
It's incredibly good.
I'm trying to think of like something like The Outpost or.
Did you see 13 Hours?
13 Hours. So that kind of feeling, yeah, gives you that kind of.
It's a lot. It's very similar to 13 Hours as far as like what kind of events are taking place.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more real than 13 Hours. 13
Because
Hours.
I love 13 Hours.
It's one of my favorite war movies. But 13 Hours, it does have that Hollywood cinema to it, right?
Oh, yeah, it's Michael Bay, so it's gonna be.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of that.
Warfare. Warfare is stripped down and as efficient as it can possibly be. There's no bells and whistles in this.
Is it following like point of view camera work? I mean,
it's still filmed cinematically.
Still filmed
like
cinematically.
you know who the focus is whenever they switch characters, because you're basically like right there on their shoulder.
Okay.
Like you'll follow them around. It's almost like you're the guy with the camera walking around with the guy.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a lot, and there's a lot of steady cam just is right in front of. If I was, if you're looking at how they shot the movie, the person would be on foot with the steady cam right in front of the soldier. That's the focus. So you're tracking what their movements are, what they're doing at that time.
Oh, and their movements are on point. They did a really good job with their movements.
Yep, it was. I mean, you can tell.
Very
And I
happy.
watched some of the behind the scenes footage where like Mendoza as the director, and then they had the other guys, some of the other SEALs on set, like showing the movements they made specifically. Like this is how you move out, and like tracking. This is how you're moving with someone on point going through the door. You follow this way. It's very authentic to the point. 70s. We told Mad maybe not to watch it.
It might be disturbing. Yeah,
I think
there's a specific scene that I think he might struggle with.
Okay. Did somebody get their penis cut off?
No, when they got to pull.
There's a part where they check for that though.
Like there's a guy at one point whose legs are on fire because he got caught in.
A bit close to home. Yeah.
And he couldn't even put himself out because he was so like just dazed and broken. One of his friends had to come up and pat his leg out and then drag him into the building.
There's Brahma.
Hey.
Did you manage to make it to the theater to see this?
No, I went to the app game last night with my daughter, and then I just got off work 2 hours ago. So
when you get the chance, you should go see.
You should go see it.
It's a must see.
Yeah, I've been listening to you guys.
It's
and
man,
yes,
so
and
good.
we did have a meeting after the show last week about the wrenches. I can't believe you forgot that.
I must have been ignoring you too, so it's fine.
we all know that Imp is playing his game right now as we speak. So
well, yeah, you're talking about Hollywood. Why would I give a fuck? You didn't burn enough, like I said before last week. Or the other
he did tell me yesterday that Monster Hunter Wilds finally clicked for him, so he's probably playing that.
Go ahead and look on Steam. You can see that I'm not playing that. Go ahead.
Oh, what are you playing? Let me go check.
Actually, it's none of your damn business.
Oh, really? Well, I'm gonna find out.
As Imp changes his status to appear offline.
I'm not a bitch.
He's like, I have no shame. Still not ashamed. Not ashamed.
Come on, you've known me for over a year now, Chad. Do you really think I have shame?
It appears as though he's not playing anything, but I question that.
Anyway, so
Slender can't really call people out for playing games during shows either way.
How dare you?
Slender's known for that.
Yeah, but I always make sure that, I usually make sure that I play a game that isn't going to distract me too much. I tried Monster Hunter Wilds once, and I got way too distracted.
Can't be that good a game then if it doesn't distract you.
No, there's different vibes of gaming. 70s.
Yeah, there's some games you can play that you can just turn your brain off with.
Like if I do some FTL, that's easy enough to do.
Hi, chat.
So
Pregnant pause there. Pregnant pause.
Pregnant pause. Man, who's the dad?
I think it was Slender in that case.
Need to get some of that. All right.
I impregnate all the pauses.
Well, you are the rabbit in the bunch.
So this is an A24 film.
A rabbit, am I?
Right, okay. It's an A24.
And I think in some places it's
Let
playing
me
in
show
IMAX.
you how rabbit-like I can be.
I mean, I think if you oh yeah, Slender's new. Imp, have you saw this, right?
Oh, brother.
Officer Reen Tambo is real.
My name is Officer Reen Tambo. I'm not your fucking brother.
Anyway, so the conclusion, at least for the people who've seen it so far, is that Warfare is a modern masterpiece that everyone who can enjoy it without issue should go see. Especially to, if you can, see it in a large format screen. Because this movie, in the screen we saw it in, was super immersive. But if you see this in an IMAX with those speakers and all the rest, my God, this thing.
You might want to bring some.
What about 4DX?
Oh yeah, there's a. If 4DX, I think as long as you understand, you better be ready for I jumped out of my seat in one part because you're so sucked in.
So funny.
It was.
I wasn't glad I was leaning back when that happened.
It was because it was so engrossing. Like you feel like you're in that moment, and it's so good. But so highest recommendation, it would be one where I would pay the extra money for a large format or high-end format to go see it. Because I feel like they really put the extra effort into the sound mixing, like Slender was talking about, to simulate the changeover from when you get the really loud booms and where you actually get like your ears kind of ringing and you get that kind of deafness where things go silent and then the chatter. Let's see. I became a great aunt this week to my younger brother's firstborn. He became a father at 17 and a grandfather at 47. It's not too bad. Congrats. That's one of that might be the sweetest bad take Bojan lore that we've gotten on this show in a long time. The most non-inappropriate. Good job. So I think the movie was fantastic. And Brahma, did you watch the second episode of Mobland?
Yes.
So all right, so all of us except Imp, who's still not involved in it, have seen
no desire to watch it.
I have no idea why you wouldn't. The show is fantastic.
It's Hollywood. That's all it at.
It's Guy Ritchie.
I don't care. I want Hollywood to burn. Literally. Again.
I'm not sure this is Hollywood. I think it's Britain.
I think Ritchie independently produces it and then just sells it.
It is a lot of British actors. Or UK actors, I guess.
All right, so we are on episode 2. So let's get that up here where we are dealing with the consequences. All right, so episode 1 was we left off. Pierce Brosnan. Brosnan is the head of the crime family. Tom Hardy is the lead fixer for him.
Is he really, though? Is he really? I mean, Helen Mirren seems to be the head. I'm just
I don't disagree. But he told her, he's like, I've heard the prosecution, I've heard the defense, but you need to remember, woman, I'm the fucking judge.
Well, he did say I'm the fucking judge.
All right. Before we get into the full on thing, was anyone else a little weirded out with the scene with Helen Mirren and the grandson?
Yes.
Yes, very weird. He looked right down her dress.
I was more weirded out by the scene with the youngest son and his half sister.
Well, at least the half sister called him out on it. Was not involved.
But he only said she was fit. He only said she was fairly fit. As he said, if he'd said she was very fit, that would have been weird.
I like her response. You're either fit or you're not.
Talking about how much she's ovulating, that's totally okay. That's not weird.
She is only a half sister. Come on.
It's not very in your face and your grandmother's tit, though.
Yeah. Did we ever establish? He was
looking for the coke, though. So
yeah, but in the first episode, that half sister, where's the mother?
The mother, the half sister. No, we've never. I don't think.
No, we don't know. Anything. Okay.
Now the mother of
the half sister is the result of some infidelity on the father's part.
Yeah, I think Helen Mirren's getting her revenge now. She's waited a long time, but she's getting it now.
You think so?
I think Helen Mirren wants to be the head of the family. And she's making the moves.
Yes,
I'm desperate for her to be Lady Macbeth. Desperate.
She does definitely have that air about her, doesn't she?
She does.
And so all right, so back to the Harrigan family as led by Pierce Brosnan. Harry D'Souza, Tom Hardy is the fixer. We have Pierce is, I guess he's not is he the oldest son, Patty Considine, as Kevin?
I believe he's the oldest,
I
isn't he?
think so.
Yeah, so he's the son, and then his son
He's
is
basically
Eddie.
first in line of succession.
Yeah, and his son is Eddie, who is the F up of all F ups.
Oh yeah. That
Who
kid.
likes grandmother?
Yeah, and what was interesting is his mother, Bella, was definitely insinuating in this episode that she's been banging
Oh yes, Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy's character.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was weird.
I mean, I don't see. Does that mean all right? So the thing that's ambiguous for me from the conversation they had, whether that was when they were younger, and he stopped once he got married, and she's just been trying to get him since then.
It seems like
Or-
they've stopped since they got married.
Yeah, who knows?
Because I feel like they're going to make Tom Hardy out to actually be an honorable,
'Cause
dishonorable guy.
She's been She was essentially just teasing him about actually being married and being monogamous at this point.
Exactly. So and what we got from from Hardy's wife was he married her once she got pregnant.
Right.
And I think we're going to find that Hardy has been monogamous since then.
See, I didn't think that. I thought he might have been banging her.
Oh,
He's
can
just not-
someone explain to me some
I think he was
London
doing it when they
slang?
were together than when they were younger. Anyway, go
okay.
ahead. What's the slang we want to look up?
There was a part where Tom Hardy was in with the fuck up, and I think he said like, "Your granddad wants me to give you a hiding."
Yeah, as in a beating.
Does that mean beat the shit out of him?
Yes, a
He
hiding.
should have.
Yeah.
He should have.
He should have, I
Like-
think so.
like-
yeah.
Like whoop his hide, tear his hide.
Yeah, I guess that's where it comes from. Yeah, he should have done that. I think he should have done it. Just
Tan
one
his hide.
punch.
That's what my dad always said. I'm gonna tan your hide, boy.
And then he got the cricket bat.
Yeah.
Then he took the belt off. I always got the belt.
Got the
If
bill.
I was really bad, I got the belt. The rest of the time, I just got grounded.
There were many broken wooden spoons.
Yep. So all right. So this.
Yeah, my mom used the wooden spoons, but like she would just swing it at me. Like there was one time I interrupted her when she was on the phone, and she just had the spoon in her hand, and I was like, "Mom, mom, mom, mom," and then she just slapped me across the face with the spoon.
Oh, no worries, copied. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, so the episode opens up with the immediate aftermath of Pierce Brosnan just shooting dude Archie in the chest, just taking him out. I do love the fact that we're getting the part where Tom Hardy is going over all the things they're going to have to fix to just make the house. Like, we're going to need hardwood because there's a bullet hole, and we're going to need this and this and this.
It's like we're gonna need new hardwood floor because there's a fucking hole in it.
Well, he's got the ultraviolet light in his hand as well. The wand looking for stuff.
Yeah, he's making sure there's any place where blood would have splattered, they're going to take it out because Tom Hardy knows that in the UK they don't even need search warrants a lot of time. They'll just go in and do whatever. So he's going to get rid of all the evidence.
Yeah.
But it's
the one I like too was that he's like, "Go get me a plastic bag," and the guy's like, "What? Why would he do it? I thought they were mates."
I'll just ask you for a plastic bag, right? No.
He's like, I appreciate
there are infinite economies in the universe, none of which most of us can fathom or understand. Ours is simply to do our job and get me a fucking plastic bag.
Yep. So and then Tom Hardy actually has his crew who are the most down and who are the most capable people. We have Zasha? Is that her name? Which one?
Yeah, I can never remember.
Sorsha?
Not good with names in these shows.
Talking about Sorsha?
Sorsha she's the
Girl?
driver, right?
Yeah, she's a driver. She's awesome. She's like one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, so we have
Yeah, but
Sorsha.
she's very unbelievable though, because we all know women can't drive. Matt's not here; somebody has to do it.
Yeah.
Wrong. Well, I don't know though. Like she seemed like she was pretty good at it. I don't know.
Yeah,
she's all right.
She's all right.
They haven't gone crazy with her being like ridiculous, like girl boss or anything. Everything that she's been doing thus far has been kept well within the realm of believability, and I like that she just does not give a shit. You know.
Yeah, so
she's less girl bossy than Helen Mirren.
See, but I don't see. But Helen Mirren's girl bossiness is like, but it is just out of whack. Like
Wiles girl boss.
She's like the out of whack, like Lady Macbeth kind of girl boss, where all of her machinations are going to bring ruin to everybody.
I agree. I have not liked her character in this show.
But
as much as I did like her in 1923, I haven't liked anything about her character.
But I don't think we're supposed to like her, though. I think she's doing.
We're not. We're not.
No, I get that.
Yeah, I think she's doing a really good job at making her unlikable and showing that she's the problem.
Yep.
Like,
yes,
I think Pierce Brosnan needs to Fredo her, take her out on the lake, and just remove her from the equation.
Just like he did his old mate, you know.
She egged on her husband to take Archie out because she didn't want opposition to the fentanyl plan.
Yeah,
she's into the fentanyl plan for some reason. She wants very keen on that
because it's going to get the money, and that's what she wants. Now, what was interesting?
I think she might have a drug problem too. All things considered,
she wants all the fentanyl.
Yeah. So. All right, so Tom Hardy starts the episode with the fixing. Now, once he sends the boy out to get the plastic bag, he talks to the oldest son, who's played by Paddy Considine, Kevin Harrigan, and he actually does ask, "What the hell actually happened?"
Is it jarring for any of you to see Paddy Considine as young again?
after House
they
of
had
the
aged him up so much.
Yeah. It is like that's what throws me off. I'm like, that's why I keep wondering: is he the oldest son or the younger middle son? I don't know.
How old is this guy?
Yeah, so and that's where Tom Hardy is actually asking the question, like, what happened? And we did get confirmation. I was pretty sure that it was a Desert Eagle. Now I know. Yeah, it's definitely a Desert Eagle that he used.
That's what they referred to it as.
Yep. So and that they basically what he knows now. Tom Hardy knows that. Helen Mirren seemed to be aware, like be the person who pushed the murder. So it's going to be interesting because I think he's got he's starting to get suspicious of her. Now,
well, part of that suspicion is driven by the cops were already kind of looking into Archie as it was. So
no, but he didn't know that. Not at that time.
He didn't know it at that time.
Yeah,
that's what ends up driving it after this episode.
Yeah, so the next event for Tom Hardy is after he leaves the Coxwell. Is that how it's like 70s? Explain how it's exactly pronounced, because they keep saying it and it sounds inappropriate.
Sorry, you pronounce what?
The
Cotswolds. The Cotswolds. The Cotswolds. There is a T in it, theoretically. Cotswolds.
Cotswolds. With some of the pronunciations from some of these guys, it sounds like a different word.
Yeah, the Irish accent probably changes.
You think they're going to the Coxwall?
The Coxwall.
I mean, tell me that it didn't sound like that, so depending on which guy was saying the word. Because when you got to Ritchie saying it,
it didn't sound like that to me, Chad, because I'm not racist.
The Irish aren't people, though.
Racist.
That's right. I'm right. Yeah.
I'm a quarter
Cotswolds. Yeah.
Yeah,
it sound like
a lovely area.
Poulter's dream. You mean there can be a wall of cocks?
Because yeah.
Oh my God, the Coxwall.
Well, where do you get a bag of? Can you get a bag of cocks? Like you can get a bag of dicks.
I'm saying specifically when Ritchie, the other mob boss, was talking about raining an ungodly wrath upon it. It sounded like he kind of, because he's the Cockney kind of accent.
I think you're just hearing what you want to hear, Chad.
All right. No, because it sounded like by the end of the episode when the manager says, "What are you staring at? Are you staring at this thing?" It sounded kind of like that word. Anyway, so Tom Hardy goes back home. He's still dealing with fallout with his wife because she wants to do therapy because he's never around, and the reason he's never around is because 24/7 he's cleaning up these mob families bullshit. So, and he's really good at it. And
You
Eddie,
think she has any idea what his job is?
oh, she does know. She knows 100% what the job is, because later in the episode when he mentions that Ritchie's grandson is missing, she jumps immediately to like, our daughters.
Are we in danger?
No,
You
yeah,
were in
are we
danger now. Yeah, so she knows what it is. I think
she should. She has some at least passing knowledge of the fact that he is a guy who is involved with bad people doing bad things.
Right. I don't know that she knows that he's as high up as he is, or
I think she does. They live in the super nice high rise, and
yeah, she goes to a private school, or
she's like, she would be the English version of Carmela Soprano. She 100% knows exactly what he does and wants to be high and mighty about it, but she likes the life that it gives her. So at least that's my kind of.
She doesn't seem to like the life that it gives her very much.
No, they never do, though, don't they? Until they lose it, of course.
They like all the money and privileges that come with it. They just want, they want it all. And all right, so when he gets back home, and while he's dealing with that fallout because his wife couldn't reach him and they missed a therapy appointment because of it, he gets arrested. Like the house gets stormed by English SWAT. And what's really funny is that Tom Hardy's like on a first name basis with all the police that are coming in to get him.
Yeah.
And he's being super polite about it. And his daughter is going like Slender's daughters would, just going apeshit.
As they're walking him out in handcuffs, the guy who's walking him out is like, "Good luck on your test later today." And she's like, "Go fuck yourself." And Tom Hardy's like, No.
But I actually said the reason they turned to my wife and I said his daughter must have posted a meme they didn't like. That's why they bust the door down.
And what was really funny is, did you notice how the cop put the handcuffs on gently and was like, sorry Harry.
Yeah.
It's like, we know you could have him killed.
That's right, you could end him.
Yeah, so they bring him in to talk to him. This is again because England has different rules of engagement for police. They can do that without a warrant and just do whatever, because they don't have a Bill of Rights the way we do. Even though it gets suspended for us a lot of times. Tune in on Sunday to the bullpen for more discussion about that. And so they bring him, and like we were saying, this is where they bring up Archie, and they ask about where Archie's at. And this is where Tom Hardy gets it in his head that Archie must have possibly been, because he ends up talking it over with the really hot mob attorney, who, by the way, looked like she was wearing just straight lingerie with an office jacket.
It does look like that, doesn't it?
Did you? I'm sure Brahma noticed.
So it's Bezos's girlfriend.
I mean, I'm sorry, but 70s you saw too. It was like a lace lingerie.
It is lace lingerie.
With a blazer.
She's not big, but she makes the most of it.
See, I'm going to have to go back and rewatch the episode, because I watched all 2 hours of 1923 starting at like 11 o'clock at night, and then I watched Mobland. So that would have been like 1 o'clock in the morning that I started it.
If you missed that, then you were off your game, because they were right there, man.
Yeah, Eric, she looked like she was
Soul Assassin.
Super hot.
Yes.
I'll find, all right, as we're talking, I'll look up a picture of the Mobland attorney, because it is hilarious. Now, so this is where they have the conversation, and they go over the reasons why the police would be asking about Archie, that he was an informant for them, and so he didn't report in, and that was kind of the conclusion they reached. She did ask if maybe like maybe Archie was wearing a wire, and this is where we got Tom Hardy like, no, we went over his body completely. He didn't have any
Searched
wire
him,
on him.
yeah.
And then he starts talking very like proudly about how they disposed of the body. Like, oh no, we broke it, we did this, that, we put it in the here.
We put him in with an old lady in a coffin, and
Yeah.
does it Pierce Brosnan say, "Oh, he would have been so happy about that"? It reminds him of his ex-wife or something. Or
Yeah, like, so we think he'd be happy about it. It was just like, damn.
yeah.
You know, it was funny because that was like the most like happy emotionally I've seen Tom Hardy the entire series so far.
He's proud of his work. What's wrong with that?
Yeah. So, but it was good. So, they go at this point. They're on their way to meet Pierce Brosnan at his house again because they want to go over what they've learned from him being picked up by the police. But as this is going on, Ritchie, who's the other mob guy whose son is missing, and his son was last seen with the Harrington grandson.
Seen with Kevin.
With Kevin.
So, Tommy
Kevin,
is the one that's missing.
Kevin Harrigan, yeah. So and
Is it Kevin?
No, Eddie Harrigan, who was
Eddie.
Kevin's son. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ritchie, who is the other mob boss, arranges basically trapping Kevin and telling him that, you need to get my son back to me by the end of the day, or I'm gonna do something very bad to your family. And he immediately calls and has his son sent to, I guess, what would be protective, sent to the country home to protect him, like the estate. So, all right, here I've got the for Brahma here. That's what she was wearing.
Chad, but
that's what she was wearing. That's her top.
Yeah, she's not a big girl, but she makes the most of it.
She went into a police station and harangued the officer for her client while wearing that.
As one does.
As one does. There you go, Josh. There's the proof. Soul Assassin in the pics. Now we just need Bad Take Bojan to confirm.
Turned our chat into degenerates, and I love it.
Can Bad Take Bojan confirm if she passes the test to get the approval for Good Take to start checking out? No, she's the defense attorney. She will prevent the confession. She will block it.
She'll also get a confession.
This is one of the best lines where she came in. Yeah, where she
you get the lawyer like, objection, Your Honor, and Your Honor is like, it doesn't matter. I didn't hear a word she said, but I'm going to allow it anyway.
It's like I told him. It's like we were supposed to all rise when the judge came in. I'm glad 70s got it. Gave me a chuckle.
Oh, we got it.
He gave me a chuckle. It was pity, but I'll take it.
We were just mad cheese mowing you.
Yeah, it's all right.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah, but the best line in terms of comedy for the show, she walks in and asks Pierce Brosnan, "Is Eddie all right?" And Pierce is like, "He's a piece of shit. He's never." Then she changes. She's like, "Is he unscathed?" Like, because Pierce, this is about his grandson, and he's like, "He's a fuck up. He's nothing right about him." So we can already see the divergent opinion later when Helen Mirren is like, "He's the greatest. He's the apple of my eye. He did what a Harrigan's supposed to."
Yeah, grandma's boy.
That look is a top 3 for me. It's a good look. See, Soul said, "Bailiff, all rise." Jury foreman replies, "Too late." That would be a Mel Brooks 1970s joke right there. So yeah, this is the high-priced attorney for the family.
Now imagine if that chick who represented Depp or even Alina Habba wore that to court. I'd be all for that.
Yep.
Remember Depp's hot attorney?
Indeed.
What was her name?
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember anymore. It's been, 2 years now?
No, I think, all right, so this leads to now.
Something like that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Isabella Vasquez, something like that. Something. Anyway, she
Mm,
wore the like white pantsuit of justice against
Yes. and she had a bit more going on.
Yeah.
Now, this leads to one of the most interesting scenes we get where Tom Hardy is basically interrogating Eddie at this point because we know Tom Hardy cleaned up his a mess they made at the club where they stabbed some dude last week. So he knew that Eddie was seen with with the other mob guy's son, and he's trying to find out like where he's got to track him down because bad things are going to happen if they don't get this kid back. So he's
The
trying
guy
to.
playing Eddie too does a really good job of trying to act tough, but conveying to the audience, this guy terrifies the shit out of me.
It reminds you of
Like-
that kid in John Wick.
Yeah,
Was it
like
John
he
Wick, the
tries
first
to
John
act
Wick?
tough, but you can see that he is terrified of. He is
should be.
terrified of this man.
He should be.
It was Camille Vasquez.
There
Easiest
you go,
search
Camille.
ever. Depp's hot lawyer, Camille Vasquez pops up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but this, in a lot of ways, you're right, 70. This guy, were you the one saying he's like the kid in John Wick?
Yeah, the one that's the shitty kid.
Yeah, it's a
Alfie.
Alfie, that's it.
very similar character where
Mm.
he's well aware that he's in a mob family. He's grown up with no real repercussions, so he does what he wants, and he doesn't care about the consequences to his own.
And makes up justifications for it.
Well, we
In his
also
own head.
we also now know Helen Mirren's been encouraging this behavior too. So yeah, so he's getting this. This was the fun exchange where he's like, "I was with two other guys," and he's like, "Do you know them?" "Yeah." "Well, then what are their names?" He's like, "Well," he's like, "You either know them
Them or
you don't know them."
Well, that's like, if you think back though, that's like I'm either very fit or not at all fit. It's a yes or no answer.
And then after he gets their names, he's walking out of the room and he's like, "I'm going to need to talk to them. Text me their details." And
Yeah.
like he doesn't even wait for it to happen. He's just already on his way out the door.
But it was
First
great.
year, do you want to see Sixth?
Yeah, what was great is
Oh, we
when
got to
he's
see him go to 6th this episode.
yeah, where he walks in with the brass knuckles. It was fantastic. Yeah, so we get we get that part. Where he's now got the information. Now the side story that isn't really doing much for me is his mother, like reconnecting with her dad, who's apparently somebody of note.
Yeah, it looked like he was either a politician or a lawyer or
Politician, it
something.
sounded
Or
like
politician.
needed his connections.
Yeah, so this is on her way to like meet him. So this is the one who is apparently hot for Tom Hardy too. And which is again an interesting problem because she is the spouse of the oldest son and I guess the planned inheritor of the crime family.
Yeah. I don't know. To me,
Well, wait
I
a
know
minute.
Tom
Sorry.
Hardy's not young anymore, but he still seems like much younger than the characters he's supposed to be playing because she seems very old compared to him for a love
Yeah,
interest.
she does.
And
I actually think the other brother is the older one. It's not Paddy Considine. I think it's the one that's on the outs. Brendan, or
are you talking about the one that was hitting on his stepsister?
The one that was
Yeah,
hitting on
I
his
think
half-
he's
half-sister.
the eldest one. I think.
Ah, okay.
But he's not
think
in
he
good
is.
favor with the family, so he's not
No.
involved in anything.
How
the last
how
couple
old do you
years.
think Tom Hardy actually is?
But in real life,
I don't know. He's
Yeah.
got to be pushing what 50, 52.
Yeah, he's 47, so yeah, he's old enough to
oh,
be.
he's 47.
Yeah, he just does it. He never seems like his characters and the way he does them never seems like he's as old as what he actually is. I don't know. It's just a mental thing for me.
Well, it's funny because that actually gets referenced a little in this episode when her dad says, "Oh, your 40s, you're looking very well." When I was your age, women in their 40s look like they were like
corpses or
they were
something.
painted corpses.
So he's
And that's what
actually
he was saying to his daughter.
Tom Hardy's older than
Yeah.
this actress. He's actually older than her.
Yep. So I think he's plenty old enough to have been the right age where they could have been messing around before she had her kid and he had his.
Sure, she just looks older than him in my mind.
So, can I just ask a question? Remember, I think we've gone past the flashback to in Tom Hardy in jail. I think it was Tom Hardy. Remember, you saw two kids in jail. One was all bloodied, and the other was patting him down. It was a flashback. It was in Tom Hardy's head. You remember that scene?
I know that like there's the part where
there was a flashback scene. Tom Hardy was thinking back to when he was younger in jail. They were in the orange jumpsuits.
That's probably going to be how he got recruited into.
Yeah, and I was trying to figure out. We were trying to figure out who it was he was talking to. In the jail.
Brothers.
It must have been one of the sons. I thought it was maybe Paddy Considine's character, but they didn't make it clear. So I just wondered if you guys knew. That was all.
Yeah,
that was how he was recruited.
Like I said, I don't remember a lot of the episode.
I think
go back and watch it again.
They've obscured it a little on purpose.
Yeah, but it certainly showed him as a young guy in jail, probably getting recruited because he makes friends with somebody, and I'm assuming it was Paddy Considine's character, but it didn't make it clear, So he goes back that far, as it were.
Yeah, so our next major event in the episode is Tom Hardy now is going to see Ritchie to basically try to smooth out that he's going to find his son. Just give me a little bit of time. And so he goes to Ritchie's, I guess, hideout zone, which is a bar, and he's in the basement of that bar. He gets, and again, this is where you're interesting. Like he's on the first name chummy basis with the regular grunts. And so when he comes in, he's like, "Oh, boss is a little pissed off. You better watch out. Like you got to watch yourself." And they pat him down and do all that. And they bring him in to see Ritchie. And this is where Ritchie is like just done with it and gives Tom the motivation to really try to figure this out, because he hands him basically photos of his daughter at her school and
her routine,
basically insinuating, and not even insinuating, just straight up saying, "We know where your daughter's at. I will take your family out if you don't get me my son by tonight. Bring me back my son." And
I like how he responded to that, though.
Where I just had a vision of
a vision, and it doesn't have a happy ending.
Yeah, we just know what that vision is. He's going to kill that fucker badly.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I think we know what's really the Helen Mirren is setting this all up on purpose, because she knows that this is how she's going to take out Ritchie and clear the way with all this fentanyl for them to really for her to get all this power, because Tom Hardy clearly is a man of Wick level capabilities in this world. Like he's probably the best fixer of all the people in this whole place. And she knows that this is going to put him on the path of having to fix this and for her.
Yeah, but is there more to it than that? I mean, we talked about the fact that they're arguing about whether Archie could have been a grass, but maybe the grass is alive and was in the room, and maybe it's Helen Mirren for whatever reason. Somebody grassed about Archie dying.
So, of course, there's going to be levels upon levels upon levels that it's going to get uncovered throughout the show.
God, Ritchie films are like onions.
They make you cry.
If I had to put money down on who was the actual informant, it's going to be Kevin, Paddy Considine.
The son?
Yep.
To get rid of his father?
Not even to get out. He doesn't really want to do it.
Yeah, I think he hates this shit.
I think he sees that his son is just destroyed from this world, that his wife is like halfway out the door with him already, that he's already
having health issues.
Yeah, that he'd be the one. I'd put money on him being the one who would be wanting to get
we
out.
should all write our choices down now.
Yeah.
You can
So
recall it.
if I had to guess, he's the one who wants to get out, and Serafina is going to be the one who wants to get in.
It'll be
I think
Harry's wife.
I think it's
Harry's wife
Helen Mirren.
pulling all the strings.
No, I don't think she's going to be informing on anybody, though. I think she might have been pulling strings, but I don't think she's
Oh yeah, I
informing
think
for the
she's
police.
setting shit up, but I think she's. I don't think she's an informant. I think she's a mastermind.
Yeah, so this is the pictures where they were taking pictures of his daughter at the school, ready to go. It's not a good look, and that leads Tom Hardy to just go like ham. Like this is where we have our two interesting conversations where he's talking with his wife, afterwards, and he tells her the situation, which is that Ritchie's son has gone missing, and that he was last seen with Eddie. And this is where she's immediately, are we in danger? Is our daughter in danger now? And he's like, no, she's fine. So he's giving her a little bit of the information, but he's not actually admitting that Ritchie just threatened to kill their daughter.
Oh yeah.
She also set him another appointment for 10 o'clock the next day
with the therapist. Which
with the old folks home.
Yeah, with the old folks.
Yeah.
No, wasn't there a therapy appointment too that she set up at like 2 o'clock?
No, he missed that.
He missed that. And
Yeah,
he
already
asked
missed
her,
that at
how
this
did it
point.
go? I don't know. It was couples therapy.
Oh,
and I
wait,
was
no,
there
you
by
know,
myself.
no, she said she had an appointment with a solicitor, which isn't a divorce attorney, at like 2 o'clock. And he
Gonna
said,
talk to a divorce attorney.
and he goes, you don't need that appointment. Cancel the appointment. You're like, you're not allowed to divorce me. This is why I do think there's a similar dynamic to Tony Soprano and Carmela in this vibe.
Yeah, she was always whining about getting out, but she liked the lifestyle too much.
Yep. So, and I think that we're going to find out that she might be more of a ride or die kind of girl by the end of this show, that she's going to maybe help,
I did think it was funny when he got back home that morning, and I was watching him like, why is he crawling into bed like fully dressed? And then the fucking cops kicked open the door 5 seconds later, and he acted like he was asleep.
Yeah, like
every
they
time she's on screen, all I can think is, why is Dana Perino from Fox News in this show?
I mean, I've seen too many episodes of Downton Abbey to think,
Oh, I know.
All right, now this is immediately after that, Tom Hardy goes to visit Kevin's wife, and this
Scene was stupid. I don't like Kevin's wife.
I think Kevin's wife is a problem. This is because she's trying to get on
She's
Tom Hardy.
A hoe for show.
Faux show.
I think she might have a drug problem too.
I think
It's
most
very
family
possible.
members in the mob have a drug problem.
Well,
And
because like the offer was so low, and she was like, "I will accept your offer." And then she was like, "I actually am looking for other." I don't remember what she said, like economy or something. And it's like, you're trying to get drugs. You're trying to get fucking drugs right now.
Yeah, she's a problem, and she's also clearly after on it. She's on his junk like this whole conversation. He's like,
this conversation is basically her telling him, "I want to be on your junk right now," and him saying no.
And that's why I think he hasn't actually gotten with her since he's been with his wife.
No, I don't think so.
And she's pissed off about it. She wants.
I think it's counter to his character.
Now the only question is, are we going to find out that Eddie is actually his kid?
No.
Possibly.
No.
It's possible.
Likely.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, they cast a kid who looks kind of like, has a little bit more similar vibe to Tom Hardy's face than Patty Considine.
I don't care. No.
Oh no, Slender's like, oh no, it could happen.
Slender's
it could
in
happen.
denial. You got to remember, Aries a wizard.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah. All right. So this is so after that interesting conversation, Tom Hardy talks to he tracks down the two mates, the two people that that Eddie was hanging out with at the club that weren't Richie's son who had a bad
Go
time.
buy yourself a nice piece of cheesecake.
Hey, get the F off my
Fuck away
car.
from my car.
Yeah, which is funny. These kids.
Actually, I have a theory about this too. I think they're the masterminds behind everything.
No. 70s. No.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
That's
So this
the
is
stupidest thing I ever heard.
no, but this is where Tom Hardy gets the really important piece of information, which is that Eddie knew the manager of the club that they had gone to and was very close with him. And so that's the key piece of information he needed to go back and kind of take the next step in his investigation.
Go to 6th gear.
Yeah, go to 6th gear. And by next step, before we get to that, that's right, we have the creepy scene. Which
I don't. Can we skip that scene? I don't like that scene.
I think it's important to give context to the audience. So we've got the grandson and grandma over here. So Helen Mirren and Eddie.
Yeah, grandma nut job.
Yeah, and this is a weird. If you ever wondered what would have happened if that one mom and kid in Game of Thrones were allowed to grow up instead of getting thrown out the moon window,
The Aries. About the Erie, I mean.
Yeah, this is kind of the vibe.
Yeah.
At least she didn't actually breastfeed him in this.
Now, clearly,
That
this
we
is.
saw.
Wait a minute. If this is Tom Hardy's kid in reality, then she's not actually blood relatives to him. Maybe she knows that.
Well, she's very proud of him as a Harrigan, and
That's true.
and then this is what's interesting. She's
That'll
like,
be the ultimate betrayal when they find out he's not.
He's not. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the weird one where she was like, "I raised you." So I think that's another reason the mom is completely disassociated from him.
She breastfed him.
Yeah, that's
She basically did. She was like, "Your mom's a dumb bitch. I raised you."
And now she's still breastfeeding
Have
him.
some cocaine.
Yeah. And what was cool, not cool, but she knows that he killed. At this point, we have full confirmation for someone other than him that he killed Ritchie's son. And because Helen Mirren does
does not rule out the theory that they were lovers.
Yeah, no,
I still think
it
so.
doesn't.
I still think so as well.
It doesn't rule out that part, but he's dead. And she asked him it was well acted. It was creepy where she was like, "How did it feel to like kill him?" And he goes, "It felt effing great." And she's like, "That's my boy. Have some coke." She's
Yep.
like, "Okay."
Oh, warm the coke.
That I keep in my bosom.
Yeah. If we were talking about a Pavlovian response, she has just positively reinforced his worst behaviors.
Well, she walks in and asks him, "Do you have any coke?"
And he's straight up honest and says,
he says, "No, I already did it all."
I did it all.
That's a shame.
Yeah, I mean, we're treating this bedroom like it's in a small town in Minnesota and owned by.
We all know things
lawyer.
go better. Things go better with coke, and they know it.
Yeah. So So this was creepy, but this also means that while everybody else was kind of in the dark and still not sure what happened to Ritchie's son, Helen Mirren's known for at least a little while because she wasn't surprised. Yeah. And she has it confirmed, and she's just told him he did the right thing because this guy had disrespected him. So clearly he should have died. So she's okay with it. And she's not telling anyone. She's not calling Tom Hardy and like the fixer and giving him the update.
No, it's the guy that he stabbed. We all know he stabbed the one guy. Everybody knows that at this point.
Yeah, no, she was talking about the. No, she was happy that he killed Ritchie's son.
No.
Yes,
I'll have to go back because I thought it was
You-
talking about the guy that he stabbed in the club.
Yeah. She was talking about the guy he stabbed at the club, the rando.
I could have sworn that it moved on to.
She might know, but that's not what they were talking about.
I thought I'll go back and rewatch it.
The subtext.
I thought it was clear that because she wouldn't be that happy about him killing a rando. She hates Ritchie's whole crew and wants them dead. Because remember in the first episode, like
But
she wouldn't.
he also didn't kill the rando. The rando was in the hospital.
Yeah,
Like, she wasn't talking about killing him. She was just reinforcing that it's good when he stabs people.
When he steps up for himself.
All right.
Like a real man.
I thought it was.
I think she's happy that he's created a monster that'll do her bidding, especially for Coke.
Yeah,
Gives her a counter monster to the family's monster in Harry.
And that's where we do get kind of angry Pierce Brosnan here. Looking at, he interrupts
Soul, this is definitely going to get bigger than a missing mob, son. This is leading to an all-out war between two families.
So he's confronting Helen Mirren, and he's not happy about a lot of things. So
I'm the fucking judge.
I'm the effing judge. Yeah. So I think Pierce
This is better than fucking the judge.
Yeah, I think Pierce is seeing that his wife is getting out of hand. And I get the feeling that this might not be the first time she's acted that way because he seems pretty.
But through 2 episodes, he's also kind of looked to her for guidance at all times.
Yeah, it's a weird dynamic.
What was the phrase that they were using about whether to kill the one guy on the phone
twist.
call? Stick or twist. And then when he's getting ready to do Archie in, he turns to her and she says stick or twist again. So it's like he's constantly looking for confirmation from her. So even though he says he's the judge, no, he was kind of just acting on her behalf, not.
It seems more like the bailiff
Making the final decision. He was turning to look at her and ask her. Like
She's
he was
Lady
freaking out
Macbeth.
he was freaking out with Harry on the phone because he couldn't decide whether to kill the guy or not right then. And starts having a conversation with her when she comes in to find out what he should do. So I think he's just a cuck.
She's Lady Macbeth. She's the absolute archetype. That's her archetype, Lady Macbeth. Manipulating everything, yeah.
Right. He thinks he's in charge, but even his actions show that he's not in charge in any way.
And that leads us to where, like Slender said, we're getting 6th gear right here.
Not a nice ass you've got there.
No, I'm doing it's the brass knuckles where
I know. I'm looking over their shoulder.
Yeah, because
you should be careful about these scenes. This is a family show.
I never check the box. This is for families. I always make sure that it's marked because Tom Hardy is going to this club and he's going to get his answers now from the manager. And it's a great scene. They go in and you can see his other crew member right behind him. I don't even know what that dude's name is. I can't remember.
Just press up and see who's in the scene on.
The character name or the actor?
It is. What service do you think I was showing the clip from? It doesn't have that feature.
Oh, you're on your yeah.
And so, we get him just taking care of the manager, and then we get our answer on what happened to Ritchie's kid.
Yeah.
Well, he had to split from the club, didn't he? He had to split.
Yeah. So this is that. My dad was a butcher.
Yeah, it took me 6 hours.
I must admit, I didn't see that ending coming. It was a little bit of a surprise.
The guy following him was Kiko.
Okay,
Kiko.
There you go.
And the lavender
his crew, his two his people in his crew are Sorsha and Kiko. They got weird fucking names.
Are you sure it's not? I thought it was. I thought her name wasn't Sorsha. I thought it was Zasha. Zasha.
Yeah, but whenever they pronounce it, they say Sorsha. It's Zosha. It's Zosia, but they say it all British.
Saoirse, isn't it?
Zosha. Okay.
Leave it.
Anyway, so Tom Hardy has the definitive answer and has the contents of the box. What's
Don't
in the
give
box?
that away. Don't talk
What's in
about
the
it.
box?
We've gone far enough. You're giving away. You're basically telling them the whole story. Now they'll never have to go watch it.
That's why
It
we
says-
give them a week
no,
to
you-
watch it with us.
This show premieres on Sundays. We give them a week. We tell them we're
They're
going to
given
do
a
the
full week so that we can do a
breakdown, yeah.
full breakdown review spoiler.
yeah.
Exactly. We can't do everything for them. Slender.
But it's
A lot more time
was-
than we gave people on 1923 on Comics Channel.
We're doing everything for them right now.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say, well, that's why people will tune in. We're the only. It feels like we're the only channel covering this show, and I don't get why.
It's a bit
great.
weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Comics is going to. He just was waiting on me because I went to the game last night, so we will
'cause
end up covering it. I'm
I
not
think
sure
this-
Of
tonight.
us being the only channel that covers things, you didn't put it in the title, but I'm just gonna briefly touch on this since everybody else in the entire fucking space has covered this. The Minecraft movie. It's pretty good. It's definitely gonna make $1 billion, and it's not a pile of shit like everyone keeps saying it is. It's just a parody, and it's fun. I enjoyed it. My kids enjoyed it.
It really
It's a
makes
good
a lot
movie.
of sense once you know that it's the same guy who did Napoleon Dynamite. Like the absurdist nature of it fits perfect for that vibe. Anyway,
I'm getting so sick
a
of everybody
meme
going,
movie.
"Oh, it was such a terrible, meaningless movie with no good story." It's like,
It was
then never say
Minecraft.
anything good about Robin Hood Men in Tights, any other Mel Brooks movie, fucking Princess Bride. Like, calm the fuck. Did you expect that a Minecraft movie was going to be like the next fucking Midsummer Night's Dream or something?
I mean, most of the people I saw talking about it said it's going to do a ton of money, and it maybe we're too old to care about this movie because it's obviously made for the market that they made it for.
I liked it.
Meme
I'd put it
movie.
at a 7.5 or an 8. But I play Minecraft, so I got a lot of the jokes.
Right. Like my daughters would get it. They're clued in on Minecraft. They play it. They have TikTok. They've got all the Minecraft TikTok stuff. They watch Minecraft YouTubers. They would probably get every joke. Neither of them wanted to go see it because they thought it looked like trash. But I mean, even them with their friends, they're like, the thing going around school is that the movie is so bad that it rolls back into being good.
It's a meme.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is how it's being sold, is on TikTok through memes.
Like, it's not a bad movie. I just find it funny that everybody's like, "Oh, the story's so basic. Oh, it's so boring. Oh, it's like what." You're going to see a Minecraft movie with Jack Black. What were you expecting this to be?
yeah,
Like, have you
that's-
played Minecraft? It doesn't have a story.
No, it doesn't have much of anything
No, it's a sandbox
with a dragon.
with a dragon.
Yep. All right.
They did play another Prodigy song in this episode.
Yeah, I noticed that. I
Breathe.
guess
That was
This
a good jam.
Guy Ritchie seems to be a little bit obsessed with Prodigy. So
With good
I
music.
probably the last
with
episode
good music.
during the final confrontation, he'll just throw on "Smack My Bitch Up."
Probably.
I mean, I feel like that would be awesome. So
I'm okay
yeah,
with
Helen Mirren goes
Uh,
down.
I did
real
see
quick.
Matt Bellamy's name in the credits, so isn't he the Muse guy? He must do some of the music for it.
oh nice. I like Muse. They're,
Yeah. I saw that name in the credits, and it said music by somebody or other and Matt Bellamy as well. I thought maybe that was the same Matt Bellamy. But
Could be.
could be. I mean,
I could see Muse having some, takeaways from Prodigy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. So just
To
real
answer
quick,
Eric
final.
Meyer's question a little
We've
more.
got to get to the final line in the show, which is awesome.
Does Minecraft the game actually have a story? No, and I did answer that while you were typing it, but I will say it, in the loosest possible sense of the word, it has some lore. But no.
Well, if
story.
you go into the legend stuff, you get some story and lore.
Yeah.
From what I understand.
Yeah.
And that's where Jack Black's connection is, because he narrated all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And he played it with PewDiePie.
He did play it with PewDiePie. That was a funny episode.
Yep. All right. Just for episode 2, just to round this out, Slender, better or worse than the first episode?
As I said, the first episode had me intrigued. The second episode got me hooked.
All right. Score out of 10?
The episode?
Yeah, the individual episode. As a standalone
8 out of 10.
episode.
8 out of 10.
Brahma, who watched this really late at night and doesn't recall even the lingerie wearing model, which clearly means he wasn't paying attention, because that would have been awake Brahma's favorite part.
True. I like the episode. I've got to go back and rewatch it just because I was so freaking tired. Starting an episode at 1 and ending at 2 is too late to catch all the details if I'm not doing my note-taking stuff for a show. And I just wasn't able to get back to it this week.
Yep. So, do you want to give a score now, or not? Do you feel not great about it since you'd
I'll abstain.
Yep. 70s. How do you see it?
I thought it was equally as good as the first one, but draws you in even more. So I guess you could say it was a little bit more compelling, even, but just as good quality wise. But I'd say 8 out of 10, like Slender. 8 out of 10. It's all right.
It's all right. Yeah, I'm coming in. I'm coming in the same spot, which is 8 out of 10.
You shouldn't do that. That's messy.
All right. Well, I will rate it at the same number, which is 8 out of 10. I think it was better than the first episode. The action helped to move it along. I thought the comedy was a little better, especially with the parts with the SWAT team, for where there was a little bit of jokey humor. For that was some of the funnier Guy Ritchie, like, where you could see the conversations like between Tom Hardy and the cops.
Oh, dude, I love when the one guy was like, "The family is running out of steam. I can give you a parachute." And he's like,
yeah,
you're mixing your metaphors, mate.
Is it a train or a plane? I think you'd want it to be a plane, because, if I'm getting a parachute, plane crashes are generally a lot worse than train crashes. Why don't you step outside, rethink your metaphor, and then come back in when you
start again?
What does that other guy think?
Imp.
There's another guy. Imp.
He doesn't watch
Imp
the
thinks
shows.
he hates Hollywood and wants it to burn. Hollywood.
The last line of the show is funny, though. In this episode, the last line of this episode was funny. We were laughing our heads off.
It's like, what you're not noticing
the size of his cock or something else.
Which would reinforce the gay theme, where Eddie was interested in him.
Wasn't expecting that line.
The one thing, and he looked at the guy, and he's like, "Would you like me to translate?" And he's like, "Let me guess." He said something about the size of his cock.
Wasn't expecting that line. But that's very Guy Ritchie, that kind of joke. Yeah.
But it really means episode 3 means shit's gonna hit the fan, because there's no kid to deliver. Is he just gonna bring the box? Here's your cut up son.
do.
Yeah, that could be an awkward conversation as well. I found your son. Would you like to see him?
Did you know his penis was this small?
Now, I guess suppose he could
the butcher too.
Yeah, I suppose he could bring in the manager who did it and say he killed him and cut him up. Here's his body. We got it. He's not one of our guys. You can tell. I mean,
do what you want.
Yeah, do what you want with him. But that means. But if the guy if the dead body was,
the guy will roll over on him.
Yeah, he'll
be
roll.
Like, no, that kid paid me to do this. Like,
Oh, of
Yeah.
course. I mean, that's not going to be the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
are we
This is
assuming
just
that
the
it was
beginning of
done?
it.
Are we assuming it was some kind of sex crime, or was there somebody put this guy up to doing it?
No, I'm
I'm
assuming the
assu-
grandmother put Eddie up to doing it, knowing that he could try to seduce the guy so that they would be spending more time together so that he could eventually kill him.
Okay.
Because
Yeah,
I
maybe.
think she knows that he's gay, and yeah, I think she had him seduce him so that
Or
he could
or-
have an end to kill him.
Or does she
Mm.
know that the other kid was gay and she just used her grandson as, like, hey, come on to him so you can
That's
get
the
him
That
other
would
wrong.
option.
explain why the
Yes.
grandson didn't want the other two guys coming with.
Yes.
Like, they make it seem like he didn't want the other two guys coming with because he only had the +1 or whatever, but it's like, maybe
Well,
there was
when
more
you're
to it than that.
Yeah, when you're rich and powerful, that shit doesn't matter. You can get as many people in as you want.
Yeah.
It's going to turn out that it was all planned, that he was going to cause some kind of scene in the club to get everybody to run so that, they're all off cameras so that he can then do whatever.
Yeah, it's not a great plan, but it was. I think that's what we're gonna find.
Not a great plan.
But that's like the level of planning that Helen Mirren's character is capable of at this point.
Uh,
Point gun,
More of a
kill.
blunt instrument.
Yeah, at this point, all she's done is point gun shoot.
Now, Shifty, to your answer to your question, I believe it's just regular Paramount Plus, not Showtime. But
Yeah,
I
that's
don't.
not part of the Showtime stuff. It's just Paramount.
Yeah, I think.
So I was reading in the Wikipedia for it that initially it was pitched as a spin-off of Ray.
Plus? I love that service.
It was a spin-off from Ray Donovan, but it somehow changed to being a British mob thing in the end. So.
Well, Ray Donovan was an American mob.
Yeah, but it completely changed. Guy Ritchie just came on board and changed it.
Well, yeah, I mean, but in a lot of ways, you can see it though, because I think even in the first episode, we made the comparisons to Ray Donovan, where
yeah, we did,
where D'Souza is effectively that kind of character for this show, and so it's a great show though. I mean, whatever Ritchie's done, if he didn't, whoever's running it, whether it's Ritchie who elevated it or not, it's coming off really well for 2 episodes in. I mean, it could still go off the rails, but it's so far so good, and I would still highly recommend it at this point. There's been nothing to really make me worry that it's going to go off the rails with that team.
Yeah, I can't see it. Can't see that happening. No,
I mean, and the people in it are
gentlemen, and it's. I mean, Guy Ritchie does what Guy Ritchie does.
Well,
the Gentleman turned out great. I mean, there's no reason to think that this would go off the rails. That didn't.
And the cast is too good. Like Pierce Brosnan, Helen Mirren, Tom Hardy, Patty Considine. They're not putting shit actors in bullshit roles.
It's not the freaking Bondsman.
No. You don't have Tom. Like, if this was like the Bondsman, Tom Hardy would be doing a like Valley accent from California for some reason, because it didn't.
I came around on the Bondsman though. I think it got better about halfway through the season.
But no,
I mean, I didn't like her that much, but I think it progressed well, and as a first season in a longer narrative, they were probably still kind of finding their feet. So I still think there's potential down the line for that one.
Maybe. I thought the dialogue, every conversation was the same conversation with every single character the whole time.
Yeah, but like another great example of this, right? I love Seinfeld, but I recently went back and started watching it on Netflix, and the first season of Seinfeld is hot garbage. Because they hadn't really figured out what they were doing with their characters yet. Like, I think this could be something similar to that.
I just did not care. I did watch the whole thing and did not care for a minute of it.
Yeah, I finished it and I was like, yeah, this is very supernatural. They're trying to do a supernatural thing with it. I don't think they're there yet, but I think maybe it could find its way.
All right, as
another season, you'll find out.
Still only giving that first season a 6, but
All right, so this is going to be our transition to the next topic for Slender, but I just wanted to have something to actually transition the.
What is this?
Palette cleanser.
Yep.
I don't like this. What is he doing?
You don't know what he's
use
going
the
to do?
gunshots. The shots will make the
Nailed it. Look how happy he is.
Okay, now
too.
I want to see the fucking paper. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think
the
he cared
question.
about the paper.
Oh no, but that's how you take it next level, man. If he did that and still managed to group within an inch, it's like, because that was a pretty rapid. But look, he's like nailed it.
okay, you're an idiot.
That was funny. All right, now after our palette cleanser, we have the Switch Part 2 drama, Switch 2 drama Part 2, whichever way we want to say it. And I'll sum it up with this headline, which is interesting. Breath of the Wild, by the way, is the first Zelda one, not Tears of the Kingdom, which is the new one. They will be selling Breath of the Wild for $90, but it's going to include all the DLC, which is interesting because if you wanted to buy all the DLC and the base game for the Switch, it would cost you $80. So the $90 is with the graphic upgrade. I don't see what the big
Graphical
deal is.
updates.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen remastered games. Here's a question, Brahma. Grand Theft Auto 5. How many goddamn times have they remastered and re-released that game for every damn system?
I don't know. You'd have to ask Slender on that one. I've never played Grand Theft Auto.
I originally picked up Grand Theft Auto 5 on the PlayStation 3.
What I can say is like Mario Kart 8, which I believe they said they're also going to release not just the new Mario Kart, but put out 8. That's been around since the
Wii U, I think.
The Wii U.
Yep,
That game's
exactly
like
that.
15 years old or something like that.
But I don't know.
They're
If
going to want full price for that too.
Nintendo never discounts their games, though. That's the weird thing.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
Doesn't
for
matter
all
if
these
it's 15 years old
Yeah.
and you've already bought it on 3 different systems. We're going to charge you full price again.
Which is why I don't know why everyone's getting apeshit, because this isn't new for Nintendo. They've never discounted their old games for, like, Breath of the Wild is still $60. Tears of the Kingdom is $70. It's never gone on discount. Like, maybe during Black Friday sales, it'll go on sale, but that's the retailer choosing to just. Nintendo's never dropped the price.
Right. I think people were just hoping that it would just be at least at the cost of what the game that they've already purchased 3 times was, not a price increase on top of having to rebuy the game.
Well, that's what's funny is they did this with the Wii U when they had the Wii U games moved to the Switch. It isn't
People
even
are
new.
just finally getting wise to Nintendo is a money-grubbing company that constantly is trying to get you to rebuy the same 6 or 7 things that you've already rebought multiple
That's
times.
every company in.
They've done that since the Super Nintendo. They re-released Mario as Mario All-Stars on the Super Nintendo.
That's the thing, Brahma. Everybody keeps saying that Nintendo's the fucking devil for doing all these things. Every company in the industry does this shit. Grand Theft Auto 5 on PS3 was $70. Grand Theft Auto 5 on PS4 was another $70. Grand Theft Auto 5 on PS5 was another $70. You ever hear of Skyrim? You could buy that on every fucking system imaginable.
Except that there are a number of systems that have had backwards compatibility. They don't always do it. They haven't always done it, but there
Name
has
one that
been.
has full backwards compatibility.
PlayStation 2.
Didn't say full.
For 6 months.
PlayStation 2 was
PlayStation 3 did.
if you
I
got
got
the
that
big
first one, the
honking one,
60.
If you got the initial release PlayStation 2, it was backwards compatible.
They got rid of backwards compatibility on the PS2 when they went to the Super Slim, and it was much longer than 6 months.
Yeah,
the Super Slim came out 6 months later.
years.
No,
the Super Slim didn't come out for like a year and a half, 2 years after the PS2.
At least.
Looking it up.
PS2 dropped, and I believe it was
PS3
99 or 2000.
No, it was 2000. It was October of 2000, October, November 2000. I remember going in. It was my sophomore year of college, and I went because I didn't have morning classes. I went to the PX because my mom called me and said they had some in stock on launch day. And I was like, fuck it, I'll come up there and get a PS2. It's like, I didn't have to pre-order shit. And
I
then
didn't I didn't either. I was lucky my sister was working at Sears at the time in the electronics department.
Yeah, so it came out
Game Crazy and went there at midnight.
So yeah,
Okay,
and then
yeah, you guys are right. There was a pretty big gap. It was 2004 that the Slim came out.
Yeah,
and that was full backwards compatibility. The Wii, I believe, the Wii was fully backwards compatible with GameCube games.
Yes, it was. It actually
was.
That's why there's still a market for the Wii, because it was fully backwards compatible with GameCube. Whereas the Wii U was backward. Wii U was backwards
how about
compatible
the
with Wii, but not GameCube.
The Xbox, well, obviously the OG Xbox didn't need backwards compatibility. The 360 had limited backwards compatibility.
No, it didn't. You take one Xbox game and put it into a 360, and I guarantee you it won't work. Just like if you take a 360 game and put it
Why
in
do you
an
think
Xbox
I said
One,
limited?
it won't fucking work.
Well, Shifty corrects me and says Nintendo actually is the one in control, and they dictate when things go on sale. So
Nintendo are evil.
I don't say that.
I'm just kidding.
Evil.
I'm just kidding.
Nintendo is like the Apple of game like they want to control their full ecosystem and always have. It goes back to when
it goes back to the video game crash.
Yeah, and it goes not just the video game crash. I guess it was coming off of it where you had to pay to get the cartridges.
Nintendo seal of approval because of the
video crash. It wasn't even the seal of approval. It was the cartridge itself was sold by Nintendo to the developer.
Yeah, because there was approval wasn't exactly something worthwhile. Look at some of the games that came out.
Who was was it EA that jailbroke it and had the black cartridges?
No, it was incredibly limited.
There was some company called Tengen. I don't know who.
Tengen, yeah.
And they got
only like 3 or 4 games came out, and Nintendo shut them right down. But yet
then they won the lawsuit.
Other companies like
there was the Christian company that did like the Adventures of Baby Moses and those.
Yeah, well, what's funny is they started off as a non-Christian video game company, and their games sucked. So they decided, hey, you know who are a bunch of suckers? Religious people.
The games did suck. Exodus wasn't too bad.
Well, I'll tell you, I think
the Bible Adventure was not that great.
I think if it was Tengen, whoever it was actually ended up winning the lawsuit. There was a lawsuit in the U.S. where Nintendo said you weren't allowed to do that, and they went to court, and eventually it was like, yeah, if they can make cartridges that work on your system, they're allowed.
Well, Activision did the same thing back in the Atari days.
That's how you getting those 72-in-1 pieces of crap that never actually ran on the Nintendo. But
I can tell you that they did run because I got mine from Japan because we bought in Japan when we came back over.
You have gotten so far off track.
Anyway, so
going back to the initial discussion, the price of the games. The part I do not understand about this is all these people talking about, oh, Nintendo raised the price to $80. How dare Nintendo? Where the fuck were you people 5 years ago when the entire industry unilaterally raised the price to $70? Because that happened in 2020. And nobody said a fucking thing.
Hell, like I said, you've heard me say this a couple times now, Slender. I remember because I was working at EB Games at the time when the 360 was coming out. And people were starting to complain about the jump going from 50 to 60.
Yeah. I guess the thing that pisses me off about this so much is everybody's jumping on this. Oh, I can't believe Nintendo raised the price to $80. Dude, this happens every 5 years, and it has been happening every 5 years for 20 fucking years. Where the fuck have you all been? Why are you acting like this is a new thing?
I think in 2020, the reason people weren't as upset was because A, everybody was getting money from the government, and B, we were in an economic boom. People weren't living, literally trying to hold on to every penny they've got because of how bad the economy is.
I also think
people are just noticing it now because of how tight the economy is.
I also think too that everybody's got this impression of Nintendo that there's family friendly company, they're the good guys. And it's like,
No.
no, they're not. They're
No.
a corporation just like Activision. As much as you
But-
hate Activision, you should hate Nintendo for the same reasons.
But
I
they're
honestly
not
don't
the
care
fucking
because
devil either. They're just like every other company in the industry. It's why the industry is struggling so bad right now.
Right. It's just going to raise the ceiling on for everybody is why I think everybody's upset at
If they
this
hadn't done
announcement
it-
specifically.
If they hadn't done it, Rockstar would have done it with GTA 6. We already know this.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
It was coming. Nintendo isn't best, but they are first.
Well, here's the thing with that thought process, Slender. If GTA 6 came out at $100, it's one thing if one game does it.
Wouldn't matter.
Because-
They'd still buy it.
Technically, they
still
already
buy it.
have over and over and over. It's all the
Yeah.
pre-orders with deluxe editions.
So
And that has been my other argument, Brahma. It's
All
like,
right.
you say
How-
$80 is unacceptable, and most people are paying $80 now.
Yeah, and I'm fine with it because games really haven't increased that much over the lifespan of gaming as we know it.
no.
I'm not going to enjoy paying that much for a game, but
Well, that's what was driving me nuts when
I-
this discourse first started. People were posting this Toys R Us ad. I'm like, why are you talking about American prices using a Canadian ad to prove your point, retards?
right.
Well,
and the other
and-
argument
and-
I've seen is, well, nobody complained about the PS5 price increases. It's like nobody had a freaking PS5. It was
I
2
couldn't
years
get one.
after the release of the PS5 before it was actually on shelves anywhere. You had
It took
was
so
saying this
long
on-
that I
on
just never
Monday.
got one.
there was a whole ecosystem on YouTube that sprung out of the PS5 release. Remember, there were channels that popped up that just tracked where shipments were going to go of PS5s, so that you
Yeah, all
might
right.
be able to get one before they sold out of the 30 that they got in a state.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave.
So nobody
this,
paid attention, nobody cared because nobody had a PS5.
Without comment over here. Check the $69.99 for Last of Us Part 1 on PS5.
Which has also been remastered twice now.
It was a PS3 game.
And
Yeah,
also did
that's
a
right.
remaster for the
Then it was-
PS4.
Then they remastered for PS4, and now they're putting out a PS5. It's $70 for a game. Like, so that is basically what I mean. If you're complaining about Nintendo,
And
why
this
is
version was released in 2022. This is already a 3-year-old version.
yeah? So why the fuck is no one complaining about this? I mean, you'd think that I think Slender's got an excellent point, which is if you're going to bitch about Nintendo doing this on the price point stuff, look,
Well,
it's not
everything
new.
that everyone
not
has
new.
complained about with Nintendo is stuff that the entire industry does. Like, it's why I'm so confused. Like, one that got me today because I don't even think I'm gonna get a Switch 2. There's no games on there that interest me as yet. But like,
Mario Kart's the only thing I've ever played on a Switch, and probably
Yeah.
the only thing I ever will play on a Switch.
I mean, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are.
But the thing of it is, right? The thing of it is, they're like, oh, that's so expensive. And I'm like, at least they're transparent with their price. This is the price of the game. Nintendo
I
doesn't
think
really
that's
do
where the argument came.
microtransactions, which I think is the devil.
I think that's where people got upset with Nintendo was that they did that huge reveal thing,
Yeah.
and then you went to the website, and that's where they revealed the price points on everything. That wasn't necessarily transparent. It was, we're not going to make the big announcement during the big announcement. We're going to let you find out a little bit afterwards.
Transparent with the asking price. I mean transparent with everything that comes after the asking price. They don't do price anchoring. They don't do, you get this version for 80 and then you get the premium version for 90. You get the double premium ultra for 100. They don't do that shit. They don't do, oh, you can go into the in-game store and buy more content. Like, Nintendo's very transparent with their pricing models, which I appreciate. What I don't appreciate is games where it's like, well, you're not really buying the whole game because we carved 30% of it off at the end and we're putting that behind a paywall. But if you buy these gems for $20, you'll be halfway to getting some of that shit we put behind the paywall. Nintendo doesn't do any of that shit. And that's the real fucking problem.
I'd push back slightly. And I agree with you within the games. They're not doing that, but they're also the company that, was putting out 10,000 amiibos and asking you to pay for those for special things within games the stupid figurines.
Yeah,
With
but
the
they also started
Skylanders.
rolling
Skylanders
out.
crap and the
Well, they
Marvel
start. That's
Infinity
when that was
crap
their
and the
version of
Amiibo
Skylanders.
stuff.
They,
I know.
so that was the
But then
trend.
it had effects in other of their games.
Nothing
So
substantial.
it's not much different than a microtransaction. They just did it in a different way. They give you a physical figurine for your microtransaction that you used within games. I'm not arguing with you that they don't have a ton of that they have a ton of microtransactions. I'm saying they have played around with it in the past in a different way. There was actually far more clutter and far more cost. Because I've still got boxes of that crap around for my daughters.
Yeah, but that's see, Eric, yeah, but those were figurines.
But they had effects in actual games. That's how they were sold. Sure. Figurines for collectors.
The amiibos, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but most of the people who were going after them were going after them to collect. I get that they had effects.
My daughters were not going after him to collect like a collector. They were going after him because they wanted Princess Peach in this outfit in this game. That was the selling point, and that's what kids were buying them for.
That's
Collectors
still better than a
microtransaction
because you have that forever.
It's still a skin change for money.
Well, we're also going to be seeing a change, I think, to microtransactions.
Yeah, I agree with Shifty. Amiibos were collectibles first. They were toys. They were cool. They crapped the bed with them by releasing a ton of Animal Crossing amiibos that didn't sell, but they were fucking toys, dude.
They were both at the same time.
They were toys that integrated with the game. Sure, that's
amiibos
to kids. It was not a collectible.
Okay, but I'm saying the kids might have got you to buy them for that reason, but the main market for amiibos was the adult collector.
Sure, but most of Nintendo's stuff is marketed at kids.
No,
Nintendo that is so much better than getting a digital fucking
Hold
nothing.
on. No, I'm going to push back on this because by the time amiibos came out, Nintendo had a whole generation of adult collectors. It was also you got to remember that's when the figurine game market was peaking.
Yeah,
that we're
Skylanders,
talking about
Marvel Infinity, Disney Infinity, whatever.
By the way, man, I got a shit ton of cool little Disney Infinity ones when that game just got canceled and Toys R Us was still around and they put them on sale for $1. They're actually pretty cool little display pieces. But and that game was actually really good.
What amiibos were like.
Yeah, so Amiibo was designed to appeal to collector market first, kids second. I would say the breakdown was probably at best 80-20, more likely 90-10.
And I'm sorry, but I can't see the comparison with that being to microtransactions because
that's a bit more of a macro transaction.
Yeah, and if you shut down the game, your microtransactions are gone forever and ever and ever. If Nintendo shuts down that game, your amiibo doesn't vaporize like it's been Thanos snapped.
Well, I get that. That's why
they had the technology.
That's why I hedged it a bit and said Nintendo has had a history of doing these things, which are not microtransactions, but it is similar.
If you want to make the vector of attack that's more accurate for Nintendo is the Wii, going back to the Wii with the game marketplace, where you bought the digital classic game for the Nintendo. You remember the old Nintendo
that
games?
Pissed me off.
And then when you went to the Wii U, all those sales got nuked,
all again,
and you'd have to buy it all again. And when they went to the Switch, it all got nuked.
Earlier when we first started talking, they make you rebuy the same game 30 times.
But they've done
every
that going
generation.
So this is
Sony
none of this is new.
If you already have a digital license for the game, you shouldn't have to buy it for the next system too. Because this is all just an emulator system. Yeah. There is nothing new happening in that new emulator. There is no remaster.
Steam is the only platform that does that, though. All the console platforms, they make you buy it again when you go to the next.
Everything I've got from the PlayStation Store on PS4, I've got on PS5.
Yeah, same.
PlayStation.
That's the first jump to do that, though.
No, because I remember when I had on PS3 the DuckTales. I had a few PS3 games and things like that where I had purchased it, and they immediately made it available PS4 as part of my life. If there was a digital version for PS4, they gave you that game too.
Kind of like the lucky people who had gotten Marvel vs. Capcom 2 before the license got jacked up.
And
You were
Shifty
still able
brings
to
up a
play
good
it
point.
in the future systems, but you could not go into the store and buy it anymore.
Yeah, Shifty brings up a good point. You got a discount on the Wii U if you already bought it.
It's
It's
yeah, I mean,
one of those
Discount for
upgrade
buying
fees.
freaking Mario Brothers.
It's an upgrade fee.
yeah,
What's
which
the
is
upgrade?
again,
It's an emulator. There is no upgrade. The graphics are not changing. Nothing is changing about that game. You already had the license from the previous system. It's an emulator.
I get what you're saying. I don't know why like everybody acts like Nintendo's the only people who are doing this.
Because it goes back to what I was trying to say before. GTA 6 doing it. It's one game. And the industry is going to look to see how it does and what the backlash is. Nintendo doing it and doing it across the board is going to signal to the other publishers that it's going to be okay to do this.
It's like the salary cap just went up in a sport.
The truth of the matter is, not every game is going to be able to support that price point, and they're going to find that out pretty fast. Nintendo,
and taking this completely out of context, a lot of people, I get it. Yes, Nintendo is charging $80 for one of the games. They said they're decoupling from a standard pricing model.
But are they consciously decoupling?
They said they're doing a variable pricing model.
Yeah, I'm making it.
And I think part of the reason they're doing a variable
was between digital and physical.
I don't know if that's the case.
Yeah, there's a price difference between physical and digital.
$10 difference between physical and digital.
There is a $10 difference between physical and digital, but I believe one of the games is also listed as $70 right now.
Right here, if you get the original Breath of the Wild digital, it's $70.
No, I'm talking about one of the new titles. One of the titles that is on that's one of the supposedly one of the titles that's releasing with the Switch 2. Like maybe the Donkey Kong game?
Yes, I think the Donkey Kong one is 70 digital.
It's also a hell of a lot cheaper if you buy the bundled system with like the Mario Kart bundle.
You get Mario Kart for $50.
Right. I do love during that announcement that they're also going to charge full price for a game that is basically a tutorial for how to use your system.
$10 for a fucking tech demo? That's the shittiest thing they did, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I mean, that is absolutely retarded that they did that. And then try to pass it off as it's going to be a place where you can learn everything and have fun with your friends. It's like, no, it's a tutorial.
Yeah, I got that.
I was pissed off about that.
The thing, and don't get me wrong, I'm gonna shit on Yellow Flash a little right now, and I like the guy, and I think he's got a great channel. But the way he said something in one of his Nintendo Switch 2 videos that he did this week, where he said, "Oh look, this is the way. This is the new way Nintendo's gonna do things. This is the new way the industry handles things. Gonna nickel and dime you for every penny." And I'm like, I don't think that he's been really paying attention to the games industry for the past 20 years.
I think he means they're going to be more overt about it.
The first microtransaction happened in 2006. We've been getting nickel and dimed for 20 fucking years now.
By the way, do you guys think this one's going to be worth anything?
The limited edition Mario Anniversary, it was all the 3E games.
Still in plastic.
Yeah,
maybe they pulled that run. It's not available.
Yeah, that was a limited
I know it was
run.
a very limited release. I bought 2 of them and I've kept one in plastic. I'm wondering if I should move it in from the garage and keep it somewhere safer.
I think that
I thought it might have some value at some point, especially if I keep it in plastic.
That one I would say could, yeah, because it's.
Let me check on that for you.
But as far as I guess the main point that I want to make about this is stop acting like Nintendo is the enemy. The whole goddamn industry is the enemy. And like, I'm kind of happy Nintendo's raising their fucking prices because it'll get us to the crash that much quicker. And we desperately need a crash right now. AAA studios all need to die, and AA needs to take their place and fix this shit. I feel a lot like the AAA game space as Imp feels about Hollywood.
I feel the same way about the AAA space right now. You forget there, Slender. I'm a bit of a misanthrope.
I'm pretty
I
much
know.
at this point at that place with consoles in general.
Brahma,
see
yeah,
myself
you
buying
can make some
another
money
console.
off that.
Steam's
I'm
good to
not
go.
buying another one. I'm PC only now.
PC Master Race, like Steam's still doing right by me.
The
I play
exclusives
whatever.
aren't exclusive enough for me to care, or good enough for me to care anymore for a console.
And Brahma,
Slender provides some AA examples.
Helldivers is a
fuck
double
Helldivers.
A game.
Fuck that
Why?
studio.
It's a good
You-
game. It's a
did you see
double
what
A
they
game.
said?
He doesn't like the politics of the community mods.
No, did the UN ask them to potentially think about doing something to do with like the equivalent of using propaganda to brainwash people?
The whole
Yeah, I
game
heard
is a
about
joke about propaganda to
Yeah.
brainwash people.
Yeah.
And they
What's
turned
the-
around and eagerly and gleefully said yes.
Baldur's Gate 3 is technically a AA game.
What's the current price on it, Imp?
People are selling it on Amazon for anywhere to 125 to 155. And
So it'll
eBay,
appreciate.
yeah. So and on eBay it was anywhere from 80 to 150.
I might move it somewhere safer then, because I don't know how long this plastic will last either way.
I mean, I also got into one of the most retarded hobbies in doing gunpla, 'cause these things don't appreciate in price at all, even if they're still sealed in box.
Oh, I mean, technically, what, like 90% of the games we play over on Ascendant Arcade are AA.
In
Don't do
indie
a
or
lot of
double
AAA
A, yeah.
titles.
Indie, yeah.
Subnautica was a AA title.
I think there's only been really a couple of AAA games that we've tinkered with here and there, and that's, you know,
Slender, did you watch the whole Nintendo announcement?
I did.
Is it true that there was a flash of the new Hollow Knight Silk song just
Yeah,
kind of mixed in there?
that is the only reason I am actually contemplating buying the fucking console.
it's going to come to PC.
Why would it be on that console only?
I don't
been-
think it would. It still shows in my Steam wish list, so hopefully I
Right.
don't
So
have to.
why? Yeah, you wouldn't have to buy a Switch just for that.
I mean,
From
I don't
what
play
I'm
it.
hearing, from what I'm hearing, the Bloodborne clone that they're working on,
It's a freaking
It's-
battle royale.
it's like an exclusive, but it's like they have the exclusive on cartridge, so it might still come to PC.
But it's also
But
going
it's
to be
also-
a multiplayer game.
It's also a
It's
multiplayer
not
battle
Bloodborne
royale.
2 or
I
anything
have
like
no
that.
interest in it's a battle royale with Bloodborne aesthetics.
Yeah, it's true. I don't like Battle
I
Royale
mean,
that much.
we'll see how Night Rain works before we look at whether they can actually put together a multiplayer game that is fun. I mean,
Oh,
I think Night Rain's going
Another
to be
really
fun.
fun AA game. I think Brahma might be able to confirm this. Vampire Survivors.
that's indie. That's not double
Yeah.
A.
I don't
It's
think it's
double A.
double A. It was one guy until
Yeah,
they
no, that's
until he got
straight
bought out.
indie. Oh, that
Oh,
was.
It was
indie.
one guy and he got bought out and
Okay.
made money on it.
Then yeah, that'd be more indie.
And then there's a whole bunch of clones of that now.
I mean,
But
because at least going by my definitions and whether you agree or not, Slender, double A would be something like Dark Souls.
a studio.
AA is a studio with less than 100 people or so.
Do we count Pal World as a double A? Or
Our
it
World
indie?
is definitely AA.
Yeah, they're double A. They're
not
a couple
AAA,
steps
yeah.
above indie.
Yeah, so Pal World is
No Man's Sky is a AA.
Yep.
man, they fixed that one. Good job for them.
Anything that's not from one of the main companies is probably going to be considered double A until you get down into the indie developer.
Stellar
I don't
Blade,
even
I
know
think.
if there's really a single A unless you
Yeah.
consider
There's no
indie
single A.
single.
Indie is
yeah,
Yeah,
single
no,
A.
there's no single
Yeah,
A. It's
indie,
indie,
yeah.
double A, triple A.
Yeah, so I think Stellar Blade was published by Sony, right? Was that a
It
Sony?
was published
it
by
was,
Sony, but it
but
was
the
a small
devs-
studio in Korea.
Yeah, I think it's pretty
Yeah,
much be a
The
Korean
developers
double
are probably double A.
So that's where you get into the gray area. Like Helldivers it's Sony published, but it's a
Yeah, but the
double A
studio is
studio.
only about 100 people.
Yeah,
That's
so
no,
I would
no
yeah,
different than distribution for a movie.
Yeah, so
AAA,
that's where
you're
you
looking at a studio of 500 plus at least.
Yeah, you're looking at EA, you're looking at Williams, you're looking at, you know, those kinds of
Williams?
Ubisoft, Bethesda,
Williams doesn't exist
BioShock.
anymore.
back in
Bromley.
the day.
All right.
Well, fair.
What we would say for today,
Ubisoft.
Activision, Ubisoft.
Activision,
Well, I
EA.
guess Activision got
What do you
swallowed
mean
up.
Ascendant Gaming is a dead channel? It's Ascendant Arcade, and it's not dead. We just streamed yesterday. You make me sad, awesome one.
Well, if
Ascendant
you-
Gaming was never a channel.
Yeah, if he searched for Ascendant Gaming, that would be why it's a dead channel. It's not ours. Ours is,
Arcade.
Should I
is
put
our
the link
Ascendant
in
Arcade.
for Arcade?
You
Sure,
could,
I
yes.
do for you every Sunday.
Oh, he's saying it's because you never pay attention to chat. He's busy trying to get his crew murdered.
On this show, we never pay attention to
No,
that?
on
Or are you
Ascendant
talking about-
Arcade.
Oh, okay. It's like half
I
of
mean,
our
I try to
content
pay
is
attention to
talking to
chat,
each other.
but we are playing a game.
Yeah, some of the games don't lend themselves well to being able to check chat to the side.
Indeed.
And we don't have the same setup where we're literally able to see chat at all times in the background.
See? Soul Assassin knows what's up. It's not dead. The players are just too busy fighting crabs and saving a sinking sub.
Which we didn't do a
Of course.
great job with last night.
No, we did not succeed.
We didn't even begin to attempt to succeed last night.
You got crabs?
I don't know about
We got a
them,
lot of
but I
crabs.
did.
Like, we got overrun with crabs. There were so many crabs. Ghost crabs, too. No, ghost clams. Rough.
Well, looks like Landeskog is going to win his comeback game with the Colorado Eagles.
So is he playing tonight in the
he played
HL?
tonight.
Nice. How many minutes so far? Does it say?
Game's over in 43 seconds. I don't know how much he played, but he did get into a few altercations and was gooning a whole bunch of people getting ready for the playoffs. So
Well, he's going to get a nice, easy first round, 4-game first round, because you're going to sweep the Stars. So
good, but we're gonna make Slender in the stream if we keep talking about it.
He does have the power again.
I have the power.
I'm assuming there's
A Mad Cavelli production. The stream's now behind, but there's no need to be glum. We'll return with more jests, with humor to come. So click that damn subscribe and let the good vibes thrive. For the next grand stream, we'll surely jive.
Ascend and I, we've charted the spree with synapses sparking, hilarity you can't believe.
You've brought your joy, so now you must go. But keep the party in your heart, yo. Keep the giggles, keep the banter, keep the screens delight. Until our next stream, keep the fun in sight. In this virtual voyage where streams do end, remember with Ascendant Art, we'll always fucking ascend. Oops, we forgot about Imp, he's bound to reappear. With chaos in his wake, all we can do is persevere. Are you happy now, Imp?